Good afternoon and welcome to a video where we talk about how I would not recommend SurgentCPA. SurgentCPA is really not a great prep course if you're wanting to really learn the information, understand it, and wanting to go in depth. I would say I am one of those people that I need people to just lay things out for me. Like, I need all the adjectives, I need everything. I can't read between the lines. I'm not very good at that whenever it comes to school stuff, and that's how SurgentCPA is for me, or how I felt like SurgentCPA was. And so these are basically the reasons why I wouldn't recommend SurgentCPA, and why, if I had to do it all over again, I definitely would not choose this prep course. I would choose a different prep course. So the first thing would be that they ask a lot of questions that is not in the book or in the videos, and I don't know how to answer the questions. I don't know how, you're supposed to get those questions right whenever you're doing them, whenever it's not something that's in the book and it's not something that they talked about in their videos and their lectures. So that is kind of a disappointing thing. Or they'll have questions where they'll give you an answer, but the answer doesn't really make sense to what the question is. So things like that kind of make it very difficult. So while I'll say that that's really annoying to have to deal with, I always feel prepared for the multiple choice part of the exam whenever I'm taking the actual CPA exam, because I've taken it twice now. I've taken the FAR and the audit, and for both of them I felt like I really knew the multiple choice question. So although that's annoying, I do still feel like I was prepared both cases for the multiple choice. But just be prepared that sometimes you may get a question that you have no idea what the answer is, and you can't find any of the information in the book or in the lectures. The other thing would be that I have my list of notes here. The simulations are not good, and I'll insert a clip where I went and used the free trial for Rogers CPA and compared, and while I was using this free trial, I noticed that one of the simulations was basically the exact same one as a one that Surgent has, and so I compared them, and as you'll see, it's kind of all the same information, same basic gist of it all, but Surgent will ask you is this does this increase the amount of audit risk, or does it decrease it? Whereas with Rogers CPA, it asks you to think more critically about it and actually think of why it would increase and what exactly it would affect and all of that, which is a lot more of how the actual CPA exam is versus just clicking yes or no. That's not something that you see in the exam. It's not that simple. If it was that simple, I feel like a lot of people would probably be passing the CPA exam. And so that's kind of something that I've noticed throughout using Surgent, and it's one of the reasons that I failed the FAR part of the exam, was because I just felt very blindsided whenever I went into the simulations part of the CPA exam, and I wasn't prepared. So I would say that that's their main thing, is that if you're wanting to really learn how to do the simulations and you're not used to stuff like that, I would recommend using Rogers CPA or Becker. They're a lot better for that sort of thing. The lectures for the SurgentCPA are very long. The book is obnoxiously large. Let's see, I have it right here. This is the audit one, and it is pretty big. And then this one is the FAR, and they're really huge, and it just has a bunch of unnecessary information in it, I feel like. Whereas with Roger and Becker, they kind of condense it more, and they kind of actually go over what's actually in their book, versus SurgentCPA, which just has their own slides, and a lot of the times the slides don't even match up with what's in the book, or there's stuff that's in the book that's not in the slides, or there's stuff that's in the slides that's not in the book. And so I don't really like that part. So I personally wouldn't ever recommend using Surgent, especially if you're a person like me where you need things to be really spelled out for you, and you need them to be I need to be walked through a lot better. I need simulations and questions that are actually going to make me think about it and think about how you would answer these on the actual exam that are more in depth versus just answering yes or no, that kind of thing. And also, one thing to note about these simulations for Surgent is that if you, and I'll put up an example of what I'm talking about, but if you are on filling in journal entries and stuff like that, and you put the title of the journal entry incorrect, but you put the amount correct, you still get partial credit for that question, even though you got you got one thing in the line wrong. And that's not how the actual exam works. With the actual exam, and this is how Becker, for example, does their simulations. If you get one item wrong in a row of a question, you get that entire row wrong, so you don't get any partial credit. So that kind of, gives you a false sense of what you're actually making on these simulations. So you're not really supposed to get credit for that, part of the question. So I would say that that's a downside. It kind of makes you think that you're doing better than you actually are. And also, one thing to note about Surgent is that they have a 99% accuracy. And that is one of the reasons that we chose Surgent, was because we're like, oh, well, if we know that we can get our ready score up to this percentage, then that's what I should make. And that is not the case, because as you can see for the FAR exam, I had a readiness score of 86. It technically was 87, but I had to get a question wrong so that way I could show you guys the whole journal entry thing. So technically, whenever I took the exam, it was an 87. But I made a 72 on the actual exam, and then I haven't gotten my results back for the audit yet, but as you can see, I made a 93 readiness score, and I did study for that many days in a row, 79 days, studied through Christmas and all the holidays, so that was fun. But if I don't get a 93, I would definitely say that their readiness score is 100% wrong and not accurate like they claim on their website. So if you choose this, keep that in mind. I would definitely say that it's not accurate like it is supposed to be. Also, one thing to note is that they tell you that if you don't pass the exam, you can get a refund of your money, and that is technically not true either. The only way that they'll do it is if you fail all 4 exams, and then you have to submit it to them, and then they'll decide if you get your money back or not. Hi guys, so Future Erica here. Wanted to pause real quick because I was looking to find where they guarantee that they'll give you your money back, so that way I could insert that. And one of the things that I noticed, but one thing that I found to be very interesting is that they say that we'll guarantee it, and then they put a star by that. But then if you look on the page and scroll down and everything, it doesn't have, what the star means. So I guess, I just feel like it's very kind of false advertisement in a way. You have to actually look and try and find what that star thing means. It's definitely not on the same page as the star, which is how it's supposed to be. So they definitely are making this very difficult for you, and I feel like kind of giving you the wrong impression unless you really, really, really do your research. And who's got time for that? Just be open and honest and transparent with your stuff. Don't try and trick people. But yeah, I found that to be very interesting that there's a star, but there's no explanation as to what the star is. So back to past Erica. So that was one of the other reasons that we decided to choose Surgent, was because we thought that we would be able to get our money back if I failed, but that's not the case. You have to fail all 4, and I feel like that's kind of ridiculous, because why would I pay for all 4 exams to fail all 4 then just to then get my money back? That doesn't really make any sense. But anyways, those are my thoughts on SurgentCPA. If you're stuck with SurgentCPA because you made the same mistake that I did, or if you think that you want to try SurgentCPA, what I would recommend, and given I haven't gotten my results back from the audit exam, so I can't guarantee this, and this is all stuff that's in my opinion, But if you decide to use Surgent or you're stuck with it, I would recommend going to the other prep courses, mainly Roger and Becker. I feel like those two are the best in terms of like actually helping you be able to learn, especially if you're a person like me where I really have to like try and put a lot of effort into it. Use their free trials and get the simulations questions from them. You don't get access to all of their simulations or all of their multiple choice questions, but you get access to like a few of them, enough to kind of like give you a little bit more practice. So I would highly recommend doing that. That's what I ended up doing after I learned that I failed the FAR exam. I tried to do that for the audit exam. And whenever I went into the audit exam this time, I did feel more prepared for the simulations. I felt better about it. But again, I don't know my results from that yet, so I'm not positive if that ended up working for me. But yeah, those are my thoughts on SurgentCPA. Hopefully I can save other people from making the same mistake that I did. I would recommend using Roger or Becker above really anything else. I think I personally like Roger more because I like all the mnemonics that he does, and I'm like one of those people that kind of needs that. It helps me a little to learn. And also they have a readiness or have a pass rate of 90%, or it may even be 92, whereas Surgent has a pass rate of 88%. So those are my thoughts. I hope that they help you and you don't make the same mistake that I did. And we'll catch you all next time.